This 3-episode long duel concludes. Wow, it's been a long time since I've said that. Anyways, this was a brilliant way to end off the arc, giving us a lot of hype, excitement, emotion, and leaving us with that revelation that the Vulgarians' lives are slowly fading out. Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and today we're talking all things episode 90 of the Yugioh Go Rush anime series, the arc's finale, and the conclusion of Yugioh versus Kauidul. So starting off with Kauidul, I love seeing how although he doesn't win this duel, he still tries to follow through with his goal of fusing himself with Yugioh, thus showing that Kauidul's resolve and determination and his desire to keep living, thus making everything he's done so far seem more justifiable and meaningful. Even after Yugioh, the kind soul that he is, said to Kauidul it was okay for him to take his body, Kauidul didn't hesitate and continued forward. So with all of that, plus the animation, it actually makes me like Kauidul's character a lot more. As we've seen many times before, when villains have lost, they fall down, they crumble, and they get depressed. But this time, Kauidul still tries anything he can to cling on to life. And even when it fails, and he's fading away, he still gives us that one piece of juicy information, and that is the fact that the Vulgarian race is dying, shattering this belief that the Vulgarians are eternal. The look on Yugioh's face tells you everything. This jolly man has been shattered, and it opens up a lot of possibilities in terms of storylines. With the big one being, will Yugioh turn on the humans in order to find a way to prolong the lives of his countrymen? I can't imagine this happening for a whole arc, but I can see someone kind of manipulating Yugioh and making him believe that the humans are hiding a solution, so that we can see Yugioh having a small dueling rampage as he tries to find out the truth. But yeah, I love how, in Yugioh's future timeline, we don't have any real signs of aliens or Vulgarians, and now in the past we have this dilemma where we learn that they might not be eternal. Granted, the Vulgarians might not have existed had Yugioh and Otis actually not gone to the past, so this is just a byproduct of them going into the past after the duel at the end of Sevens, but either way, I still like it. But we're going to be talking more on what ifs and predictions for future arcs in a different video, so if you're interested in that, subscribe, and back to this episode we go. Another thing that I really loved from this episode was the pairings that were used throughout this duel. What I mean by this is whenever Yugioh needed to use a card, this card and other cards were associated with a character who was strongly connected to the character of the first card that he used. For example, when discarding a card for a cost, Yugioh discards a card that belongs to both Yuna and Rovian, who are characters that have a strong chemistry together. Or when defending and having to use that trap card, we see that he uses the cards that are associated with Mayuda, Dinios, and Ninshaw, 3 aliens/Vulgarians that seconds earlier were trying to help Yugioh stay focused and continue dueling. Even when we had that last discard for the piercing spell card, we see that the 2 cards that were by his side when he discarded them were Yuhi and Yuumu's ace monsters. Which is great, as they've been Yugioh's biggest supporters, and like I've said in my other reviews, one key theme that's been very reoccurring throughout this duel is unity, and this was very much highlighted here in this episode with the cards and symbolisms behind each character and the connections they have with everyone being used. Another great piece of symbolism from this duel though was the full circle that Kauidul took when he reached his final form by fusing Transamu Rainik and his own Transamu Prime Armored Nova to create Transamu Prime Full Armored Nova. Now this card looks insanely good in terms of its design, and when you dive deeper into this card, it's meant to mean more than 2 characters using the ace monsters together. As you know, the ace monsters of both duelists here represents a Transamu that reflects themselves. So these fusing together gives us just a glimpse of what we could see now that we know that Kauidul wants to fuse himself / his galaxy with Yugioh's. And of course, every time throughout this duel when these 2 cards were used, we saw the pulsating of the galaxies within each character kind of come to the forefront. Now the setup for this fusion monster did remind me of a super polymerization card, as Kauidul used his own monster and won on Yugioh's side of the field. So that was a cool nod to that card. Also, I could be wrong, but I think Kauidul now holds the highest life point value recorded within a Rush duel. And maybe the highest attack points in Rush Dueling, but either way, it was a great moment for this episode when this monster got summoned and used. So like I said, things do come full circle as Kauidul gets to his peak by having that monster out with his new fusion. But then he brings it all the way back to the beginning by having the last card that he uses being Nyanderstar's Ace Monster, who we know that Nyanderstar was the first person that was integral to Kauidul's plan because he was the one who turned her into a card/cat to start with. So I do like that once his peak kind of broke and faded away or got taken away from him, he reverted back to the start, thus bringing that circle to full. So let's finish off by talking about Yugioh. As we know, Yugioh has been helping in small ways whenever he can, but this episode, Yugioh is talking about how eventually two galaxies will collide, and how that would actually be a big issue in the grand scheme of things, but it'll never happen in our lifetime, so we don't really need to worry about it. However, the key interesting thing from Yugioh's dialogue in this episode was when we learned that he was the one who created the galaxy typing. But it doesn't stop there, as we have it now confirmed that Yugioh and the creator are two different people. Because Yugioh creating the galaxy typing, while the creator using galaxy to create Vulgarians is just a coincidence. However, we know that if the creator is Otis, and Yugioh and Otis are always fated to be connected, then of course that coincidence is kind of less of a coincidence and more of a certainty. You get what I'm trying to say. Now I loved how once everyone was free, Yugioh seemingly vanished, which is a classic Yugioh move, but at the same time we do have other classic Yugioh moments throughout this duel, because in the flashback when he's talking to Ranran, Ranran's like, "You don't ever explain anything, do you?" But I do hope that wherever Yugioh is, he is okay, because having that helmet on didn't seem like the funnest idea, especially because we know that his thoughts were sped up to an accelerated level. But on the plus side, this could have led Yugioh to think of a new method to implement into Rush Dueling, or a solution to Volgir's new situation, and he's just gone off to try and test a few things. Either way, those are my thoughts on this brilliant episode of Go Rush. The voice acting, the character interactions, the animation, the emotion, the music, everything overall worked amazingly, blended together to create a wonderful episode and a great way to end off this season/arc. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on this episode and of this duel. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Could you see where things could have been improved? Let me know everything down there. On the plus side though, subscribe for more things like ranking videos, what ifs, predictions, and much more moving forward. Have a great day, alligator, matane, goodbye.